Yeah, accreditation. Accreditation comes up a lot. I think it's a question that students and parents are quick to ask about and have a lot of questions about. Now, there's some misunderstanding about it. Now, here's, I think, why a lot of people ask the question. If you're the kind of person who's asking questions at all about college, then you are probably a conscientious person who's thinking about the future. And there's a few different reasons that accreditation might be coming up. For some students, it's coming up because maybe you are thinking about the future and getting a job, and you are worried that, well, if I get a degree that is unaccredited, is that going to be a problem for me in an employment interview? Is that going to be a problem for me on my resume? Will it make it harder for me to get a job? For other people, they might be thinking more about further education. So maybe you're looking down the road and thinking, yeah, great. A bachelor's degree sounds great and really helpful, but for me, that's going to be a starting place and a springboard towards something more. And I'm looking forward to going on and getting a master's or maybe even eventually working towards a PhD. Will I be able to do that if I don't have an accredited degree? And first, I think it's really wise to be asking the question because that indicates that you are thinking about the future. That's a very wise way to live. In the book of Proverbs, the book of Ecclesiastes, in both cases, Solomon is very concerned about the end of the matter. Where does this thing lead? Where does the thing go? What are the results or the consequences of a set of actions? So it's a very important question to be asking, and I'm glad you're asking. It's a question we get a lot. Now, the answer to the question is we are not yet accredited, but we are going to begin soon. There are a couple of requirements that colleges have to meet in order to even begin the process of accreditation. One is you have to have graduated a class. You got to be able to show that you can do it, that you can get a group of students all the way through to graduation. Secondly, there's typically some enrollment thresholds that you have to meet. You have to have at least a big enough student body, a certain critical mass to show that you're viable as a college. And we are almost there at that minimum threshold. I expect that we'll be qualified to begin the process of accreditation within about a year and a half. So probably by the end of the 2026-2027 academic year, we'll be ready to get started. Now, accreditation is a long and expensive process. So it takes a fair amount of money and is typically not less than 5 or 6 years once you begin, could be even up to 8 or 10. It takes a long time. And so it's quite a process. There's a lot of paperwork involved, a lot of looking at curricula and qualifications of professors, all that kind of stuff gets involved. So it's a serious process and it'll take us a while. But we do intend to pursue accreditation because we think that's valuable to our students and helps show that someone is looking over our shoulder and affirming that we're doing the thing that we say that we're going to do. That's really what accreditation is about. It's a kind of a consumer protection for you as a student. So that'll be a bit of a process. Now, a related question that comes up sometimes is if I graduate with an unaccredited degree, is it retroactive? So if I graduate before Trinity College is accredited and then a year or two later accreditation finally kicks in, will my degree suddenly become accredited? And the answer to that, as best I've been able to determine, is no, it's not retroactive. But what I think is important for students and their parents to hear is that may not be as big a problem as you think it is. So here's how this works. A college like ours contracts with an accrediting agency, and the accrediting agency is providing a consumer protection. They come look over our shoulder and ensure for you, the student, that we, the college, are doing the things that we said that we're going to do, that we are educating sufficiently, that our curriculum is well thought through, that our professors are qualified to teach that curriculum, that sort of thing. And that'll take a little bit of time. And so as you start to look out towards the future and wonder, well, will I be able to get a job? Could I go on to further education? The answer to that is almost certainly yes. Now, I'm not able to give you an airtight guarantee that this will never be a problem anywhere in your future. But in general, I think I can tell you that this will work out just fine in most cases. And here's why. Let's start with employment. So if you graduate from Trinity College with an unaccredited degree, and then go on and try to get a job somewhere, you're going to put Trinity College down on your resume. You're going to say, I have a bachelor's degree in liberal arts from Trinity College. I graduated with this GPA, probably a 4.0 in your case. And the employer is going to look at it and be like, great, glad to see you finished, and off you go. I have heard of some job applications where they ask for an accredited degree. They say, "Do you have that?" But there's very few industries where that is really going to be the deal breaker on somebody getting a job or not. I personally spent 10 years in business. I did a lot of hiring. And when resumes came across my desk, I would always look to be sure that somebody finished college. And I was curious to see where they went to college. I might check to see what their GPA was like while they were in college. But I never once stopped to ask, is this college accredited? Just wasn't part of the equation. I think that's true of a lot of employers. That's not the most important thing that they're looking for. They're just looking to see, did you go to college, and if you did you finish? That's really what they care about. Now, another question that comes up is, what about further education? What if I want to go on and get a master's degree? Or what if I do the bridge year and hope to transfer some of that credit to another college? Is that going to be possible? Well, the answer to that question is it depends. And it depends a lot on the admissions department of the college that you are looking at. So if you're thinking about a master's degree, maybe you want to get a master's in fine arts, you want to go into ministry and get an MDiv or something like that, probably the best step is to talk to that college. Maybe give their admissions department a call and explain what you're doing and saying, look, I'm considering going to a college that has an unaccredited degree program. I'll get a bachelor's degree, but it's not accredited yet because they've just begun. Will I be able to gain admission into your master's program? Or will I be able to transfer credit there? What will it take to do that? Now, we prepare our students as best we can to be ready for that. And we coach them through, look, save your syllabi, keep your tests and papers, that sort of thing, because what an admissions department is going to ask you to do is to show equivalency. You got to be able to prove that the classes that you took with Trinity College are more or less equal to a class that you would take at an accredited institution, that you did a similar workload, read a similar number of pages, were tested on a similar body of material, that sort of thing. So we try to make that as clear as possible and prepare our students for that. And so getting out ahead of that, asking questions of that admissions department that you're considering is a really good step and a great idea to know kind of what you're getting into. Now, I also think it's important that students and their families know that accreditation is not always the silver bullet that families sometimes think it will be, or that students sometimes think it will be. Just because a Christian college is accredited doesn't mean that a major institution, whether that's a local state school or some other kind of Christian school, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll recognize that school's accreditation. So accreditation is not the silver bullet that everyone thinks it is. I know of one college that is accredited and has been for 15 or 20 years. There's a state school right in town. It's about a mile or two from their campus. And that major state school does not acknowledge or accept the accreditation of this particular Christian college. So that sort of thing is probably less common, but it does happen, which just means that accreditation is not always going to be the thing that gets you in the door. You may just have to do a little bit of work. Now, I would also want to encourage you with the knowledge that ever since COVID, college attendance rates have plummeted. Enrollment rates are way, way down. And so college admissions departments are eager for students. And so many college admissions departments are very eager to work with students and see what they can do to bring about transfer credit or accept even degrees from an unaccredited institution like Trinity College. Now, if you have more questions about that and you'd like to know more about how this works, I'm very happy to talk about that. If you reach out to me, we can set up a call or a Zoom and discuss your questions in detail, take as long as we need. Be very happy to have that conversation with you. There's also a lot more information on our website. It's at trinitycollegelou.com. You can also look at more videos on our YouTube channel. So hope that that's helpful. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to me. I would be very happy to help you. Thanks so much.